And it's crazy to say, but in this mass shooting only, I'm saying only because it's crazy, but three victims dead, including the shooter. It's a shitty world we live in where hospitals, schools, concerts, all of these places got shootings. Let me just tell you what happened at Mercy Hospital in Chicago. So on this Monday afternoon, I'm not going to say the shooter's name, but a shooter opened fire at Mercy Hospital in Chicago, killing 3 people. The emergency room doctor, Tamara O'Neal, which was his wife, I'll get to that in a little bit. She was 38 years old. A pharmacy resident, Dayna Less. She was 24-year-old. That's as old as I am. I cannot imagine losing my life at this time. You mean you literally your entire life ahead of you. It's sad situation. And then a rookie Chicago police officer, Samuel Jimenez, which was 28 years old. All of these people are extremely young, including the shooter who did this crazy mass shooting. I have no empathy for that man. But this is the world we live in. This is the America we live in, where there's a shooting literally every week. The last nursing news segment I had, we started that with the mass shooting of the synagogue shooting. There was a mass shooting at a yoga studio. There was a mass shooting in California, the Oak Woods, whatever. I mean, there's mass shootings literally every single week, and I say this every time. If I were to just cover the mass shootings, I would have story after story after story. That's all I would be doing. That's the life we live in. That's the world. That's the America we live in. The shooter's former fiance, which was the first victim I mentioned, her name is Dr. Tamara O'Neal. She was engaged to the shooter. She broke off her engagement in September, and this is what all of the officers, all of the investigative team is thinking what it was happening. This was the reason for the shooting. It was just a domestic violence case. He came to her place of work and he just shot up the place, starting with her. So he killed her, killed the Chicago Fire Department officer, killed the pharmacist, and then killed himself. But he didn't actually kill himself. He shot himself, and then one of the police officers' bullets actually was the one that ended up killing him. But that was the situation. And just to give you a little bit of history, because I know when it comes to these mass shootings, these gun violence incidents that we have literally every single day in America, when it comes to these incidents, we want to ask the question, how could we have stopped this, right? And for those people on the right, those Second Amendment folks, talking about getting rid of the guns is an absolute no-no. But for some people, maybe guns isn't a good idea. And this guy had a history and was reported for having incidences that just inclinations to violence. And let me just tell you what his little bit of his history. So in 2014, his ex-wife, not the fiance that the ex-fiance that he just killed, but his ex-wife reported him for threatening his neighbor and a realtor with a gun. So he was threatening his neighbors and threatening a realtor with a gun. And then coming to this year in 2018, when he was trying to join the Chicago Fire Department, he was let go, kicked out of the academy. Why? Because he was bullying the female cadets. I don't know, and it's so hard in these situations to say that this is enough to make someone not have the right to own any gun. I hate these stories, because just let's put this in a different perspective. If you were a crazy person and you had a road rage incident, and in the middle of the road you got out of your car and started breaking someone else's window, you would get your license taken away for a certain amount of months. If you were threatening other human beings with your vehicle, and this was reported to the police officers, and this was taken to court, you would have your driver's license taken away from you, because you would be considered unsafe and you wouldn't be worthy of driving a car. But no, not in America, not when it comes to guns. When you have a gun, if you own a gun, this man currently, with all of that happening, with the threat of violence to his neighbors and to the realtor, to the fact that he actually got kicked out of the Chicago Fire Department, still, none of that disbarred him from having a firearm license. He still had a Chicago firearm license, along with a permit for conceal and carry. This is the America we live in. I hate saying this, but it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it's going to happen in a town near you, in a city near you, in a school, in a hospital, at a concert near you. This is the world we live in. Until we do something about the gun violence. I hate to start out the Thanksgiving nursing news segment like this, but this is the reality in which we live in. This is the reality. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate this. If you guys were informed or educated in any way, shape, or form by these stories, please hit that like button. If you liked my presentation of the news, I really suggest you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know every time Q the Nurse drops some hot, fresh press news. Thank you. Catch you next week. Deuces.